So in this recording, we are going to try to set up a session ready for mixdown. It's come from the studio, it's already been recorded, and the I/O settings are a bit of a problem to begin with. So we're going to open up the session and we're going to just have a quick look to check that we've got the right audio device being used for our mixdown. That's the first thing you need to check, and that's perfect. And the next thing you need to check are the I/O settings. Now the I/O settings are all going to have been set up in the studio, so they're wrong for us now. Select the top one, shift, select the bottom one, delete all those bus settings, and then get to the output and trash those as well. Now that we're clean, we can set up a new stereo main output. I'm going to call this one main so that we know that it's the one that we've created, and I can also use that for the monitor and audition paths. Now, of course, I need to go to the track itself. I'm going to use the Vocal 1 track, and I'm going to select that as the main output.
It's 2 in the afternoon and
You can hear that working now. At the moment, I've got the third playlist selected, or the second playlist, I should say. Let's go back to waveform view, and you'll notice that only the first track is actually selected the correct output. So I'm going to need to hit Option, do to all, and then select main again. And that's all of the tracks coming through now. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. We've got the audio coming out. We need to now double click on one of the nameplates of the tracks, and we can rename all the tracks to whatever we need. It's a good idea to rename these something you can immediately recognize, and you can click next or previous to edit those. Right, now that we've done that, we need to just delete a few of the unused tracks. I've got 3 unused tracks here and a click track. So I'm going to click Shift and select those 3. Make sure you only delete the tracks that you want to delete. Be careful with what you've got selected here, because you can't undo a track deletion. And I'm going to hide and make inactive the click track. I can always bring it back by clicking on that little dot over there on the left hand side of that. But it'll be hidden there for whenever we need it. Okay, so at this point, I'm actually going to create a master fader. That's an easy one. Make sure it's a stereo master fader. So once we've got that all organized, we're going to try and change the color of some of these tracks. Now in this particular session, it's going to be tricky, and you'll see why. So at the moment, I've got the all group selected on the bottom left hand corner, which means that I should be able to select. See, if I take the all off, I can only select one of those tracks. But if I put the all group on, or at the moment, what I'll do is I'll actually just select all of these audio files and change the color for those. This is one way to go about it. So if I just go all clips in the track, and I've got the 2 vocal tracks, so I can change those to make them one color. So I recognize immediately that they're vocals. But that's not the way I'm going to run this particular session. If I actually select all of the audio files or audio clips in the main tracks on all of the tracks, not the playlists, but the main track, I want to make these one color, the same color. Now the problem is going to be this track here, the Josh Guitar 1 track. So at the moment, I'll put the all group on down the left hand corner, select all of those, and I can now open the color palette and change the color of all those audios. So I'll go down to the color palette, there it is, and make these say green, for example. Clips in the tracks are making green. Okay, so that's great. All of the main tracks are now green. But I now want to make all of the first playlists to be one color. But as you know, even though I've got the all group selected, I can't do it. I can't grab them. It's not selecting all the tracks. And the reason is because one of the tracks does not have a first playlist in it. So I've got to create a new group that takes that particular track out of my group. And the group is this one here. I'm just going to command click on that one that I don't want. And now I can actually go to the groups, click new group, and you'll notice that all of those are selected. All the tracks that I wanted selected are already currently in the group. And I'm going to call this all except guitar 1. And this is going to be set up on the ID 1A. I could put it onto 1B or whatever I want, but I'm going to leave it on 1A. And that's because the all group does not have an ID allocation. So now when I select the first playlist as opposed to the main playlist, I can now change the color of all of those. Remembering that Josh Guitar 1 track is not in there. And I can do that for the second and the third of the playlists as well. And then they're all the same color. So now I know which particular playlist I've taken any of the audio from as I'm creating my comp track. So that was a slightly complicated one, that one. And so now if I actually change it from playlists back to waveform view, you'll notice that they're all the same color because it's all the same take. And that's a handy thing to know as you're mixing down. And good luck.